What are the Hindu schools of philosophy?
The 6 schools of philosophy, which I call 6 darshana, are a very important aspect of our transition on the philosophic grounds. I explain the whole universe in terms of pure logic. The Nyaya Vaisheshika philosophies are perhaps the earliest philosophies the Hindus invented. The Nyaya philosophy said, just by using our intellect, we can make sense of the whole creation. At the same time, we had another school of philosophy called Vaisheshika philosophy, which focused on the idea that maybe we can explain the whole creation in terms of Anu Parmanu. That means atoms and the void. This has been the foundation of modern science and modern physics. So this is the second school, purely materialism. Then we had a third school of philosophy which said, if you carry out certain rituals in a very rigorous manner, chant certain verses in a particular perfect pronunciation, and make sure the altar is properly constructed, and follow the instruction as we give you, it will produce certain results. This is called the Purva Mimamsa. Now, all the 3 schools of philosophy are completely pushed aside by the next 3 schools of philosophy. This is the beginning of modern Hinduism. And the first of these 3 schools of philosophy is called the Sankhya Darshan. This word Sankhya means quantifying. Sankhya Darshan is the first darshan where it says we are not output of matter. We cannot be understood in terms of just using logic. The solution of our human condition is to look inward and see what is our true nature. And the way Sankhya Darshan developed was this. Kapil said, we are Purush. Purush doesn't mean necessary male, but we are the observer, the seer, the Sakshi. And the world that we experience is called Prakriti. So Purush and Prakriti, divided the creation as Purush, observer, and Prakriti, what we observe, whole of this creation. Making this distinction that we are not part of Prakriti, but we are something separate, looking at Prakriti, is the beginning of the idea that you are more than matter or output of material universe. And this is the beginning of Kapil and the idea of Sankhya Darshan. The other thing that came with Sankhya, which has not been properly explored, is that Kapil said there are 3 attributes to the universe. These 3 attributes are like 3 threads. When woven together, the whole creation can be explained. Prakriti can be explained through 3 attributes. And the word he uses is guna. Guna literally means thread. And the 3 gunas are called sattva, rajas, and tamas. The first attribute is called tamas. In English it says inertia. The second attribute is called rajas, which brings about motion. The third attribute is called sattva, which is a balancing faculty between motion and no motion. This is the idea that was explored in ancient times, 3,000 years ago. And surprisingly, when you study modern physics, say Newton's laws of motion, these are precisely what he's talking about. The 3 laws of motion are talking of inertia, force, and balance. Action and reaction are equal and opposite. They become visible in the latest version of modern physics, which says when you look at every elementary particle, there are certain things in the elementary particle. There is the mass, see, inertia. There is the charge that makes it move, it doesn't like to sit still. And there is a spin that kind of balances. And then came Patanjali. He said, this is fine, but in order to become more focused, we need to put in one more category. It is nice to think of a Purush, but there must be something higher than the Purush. So he brings in the idea of God, first time becoming visible in the yoga philosophy. He said, okay, we are Purush, we are the observer, but there is a super observer. So yoga philosophy is nothing but extension of the Sankhya Darshan. It becomes the Yoga Darshan. And this is experiential religion, saying don't just believe and die. Try and experience these things that we are talking about for yourself. Yoga Darshan. This was superseded by the later version, which is called the Vedanta Darshan. And the most important proponent that made it very popular is Adi Shankaracharya, who lived about 1200 years ago. Now Adi Shankara says this particular analysis is perfect, but let me use different vocabulary to understand it. He said it is Maya, it is just an appearance. So Adi Shankara put in this marvelous idea that the world can be understood in terms of Atman and Brahman. Words visible in the Upanishads, but he gave it greater prominence. Vedanta was such a powerful system of thought is because philosophically it is very robust. Even today it's difficult to challenge the Advaita Vedanta that Adi Shankara has promoted. Ramanujacharya, who came about 200 years after Adi Shankara, said, hey, Adi Shankara's Advaita Vedanta is fine, but I want to qualify it. So he qualified the idea of Advaita Vedanta as Vishishta Advaita Vedanta. Vishishta means qualified, still Advaita, but qualified Advaita. He said, let us say Atman are like sparks and Paramatma is like the fire. We are a spark of the fire. The spark still reflects the attributes of the fire, and yet it is separate. It doesn't have the same grandeur as the fire. So he made this distinction between Atman and Paramatman, a supreme Atman. And this is where the idea of God becomes much more clearly visible in our philosophy. This is called the Vishishtadvaita Vedanta. According to me, Advaita Vedanta is very robust philosophically, but for a common person, Vishishtadvaita Vedanta is perhaps the better way of trying to relate to the ultimate reality. Ramanujacharya promoted Vishnu as a personality to focus on. The personality that I focus on is Ramakrishna. An anchor is necessary. The most popular vision of Hindu philosophy today is Vedanta, the conclusion of the Vedas.